Hey there. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for April 13th, 14th, 2020. How are you doing? I'm I'm Adrienne Leese. um, so we are in a very powerful and potent few days. I want to talk about this. It feels like a crux of the situation, a culmination type energy. With this Sun in Aries, now the Mercury in Aries, and both of them in very powerful transits. So the Sun is now in a square with Pluto. That is exact tomorrow. And then square with Jupiter. That is exact the next day. And so we are, for these next few days, and then what we have is Mercury coming into a conjunction with Chiron, and then a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. So the Mercury is our mind, our mental conceptual reality. And the Sun is who we think we are in our personality, our identity, who we, our self, who we want to be in this lifetime. So we've got who, and of course, these are personal planets, right? So it's like our day to day reality. And our day to day reality is coming up into a very powerful relationship. The Sun in square, that's tension. And then Mercury in a conjunction, so it's like our everyday reality is getting blown apart by this Jupiter and Pluto conjunction and Black Moon Lilith Chiron. So let's talk about this, because what this is with the Sun in Aries and Mercury in Aries, this is about breaking the chains, the Sun in square to Pluto and Jupiter. The massive speed of awakening right now of people to truth in the world is staggering. And what I found, I've talked about how um, for my whole life I've been devoted and dedicated to supporting, figuring out spiritual awakening, spiritual evolution, what's happening here. And I finally came to this place of like, oh wow, like this, the awakening of the masses happens through truth. And of course, truth is subjective, right? Because you find one truth and there's bigger, wider truths. Um, but there is a lot that we've been lied to, and that's kept our evolution back. That's a key piece. And that has everything to do with Chiron and Black Moon Lilith, because it's like the wounds of Chiron and Aries is about where you haven't been able to be who you really are. For these souls in your bigger, wider, truer self, your spiritual self, coming into this world and that being invalidated, denied, and viciously attacked, you know? And so that has everything to do with the bigger, wider spiritual truth, and all of these forces of agenda over thousands of years, trying to keep us attached to the physical reality that that's who we are, that we're our body, we're our things, we're our, earth, we're our this, and keeping us from that greater spiritual reality, right? That's coming crashing into earth right now, like with this current situation. And you have to understand that that seems to mean that, and we've kind of been talking about this, but this is really on the table right now, is that the people who have not been on that path, it's not fun for them right now, and you've had years to adjust and go through your awakening and go through your ego death and go through your stuff. They have to do it in a couple of weeks or months, right? And they can still choose not to, right? But the opportunity is there, and that's what's happening on the planet right now. Everything is about spiritual awakening, even if it looks like tyranny, mind control, all that. That's all there too, right? But it's all about being shown very clearly so that we can emancipate ourselves. And this is what the message is around Mercury and Aries. After that really intense retrograde, trying to figure out how we need to change our conceptual reality, our thought process, the way we see the world to move into this Aquarian age. Now moving into Aries, and it's like the fire of the self, the strength of self, the fight for the self, and then that coming up with these wounds where for lifetimes you have been kept in chains from your spiritual truth, which is really all that matters to you. It's all you came for. And then everybody around you in the whole world constantly discounting, denying, devaluing who you are and your truth. And it's like, no more, right? So it's a really weird time for you souls, because it's like you have been feeling bad in this lower dimensional reality, and you've been taking on the collective pain, and you've been in your ego death struggle, and you've been clearing all kinds of buckets of karma, right? And now you're starting to feel better, right? Like these energies support you, not the technological control trying to fry us and, all that. But beyond that, the reason why there's a bloom of all of this technological control energy right now is because what lies beyond that, which is spiritual awakening, these higher vibrational frequencies, right? And that energy supports you. You finally feel like you belong here. You finally feel like you could be supported. You can breathe, spiritually breathe. Your crown chakra activating, right? But it's really weird because the masses are going through a lot of pain right now. And so it's a really interesting time because, we talked through this so much, but it's like you feel like you are the one that's supposed to carry this pain for the collective, And now it's like, ooh, I got to go to the party. And it feels selfish, but at the same time, it's like, it's your destiny, and you cannot stay healthy in those lower vibrations, and allowing everybody to be where they're at, which is really, really hard. And it's like, so you feel more sane than ever, and they're starting to feel crazy, and they've been calling you the crazy one this whole time. And you doing your self-care, allowing yourself to move into these vibrations, taking good care of your body. Like it's a really important time. Messages coming in, of course, just like, life force is so important. So fresh food, fresh vegetables, staying away from anything processed, from sugars, really being careful with substances and escaping, because you don't want to miss this, right? Like that's the message. And a lot of people these souls have been battling with that kind of thing of like needing substances to get through this heavy reality. That's falling away, because it's like, oh, and you want to be present for this, right? As much as you can for these energies and step into them, because we're being invited in a huge way. At the same time, the masses are like freaking out. The energies are just, it's weird. It's like, I kind of almost see this thing of, is this the energy of these timelines converging, where what seems negative is actually all working towards the positive whole right now. And that maybe the technological control grid is somehow harmonizing in a weird way people to get used to these new energies. I don't know. And then we've got this control grid trying to come down and attack our physical body, and this situation in the world, this virus attacking our physical body. It is a terrorism attack. We are under a terrorist attack by our very own, a segment of our very own government in the US, and of course the world elite depopulation agenda. So that doesn't feel very good. But then we got this comet out there that is bringing in this really high vibrational energy, like expansive energy. So maybe that's like working and undoing. And I don't know, it's like, put your attention. We know that attention is attraction, and we are in a vibrational reality. So put your attention and your vibration on the highest good, on the highest ideal. This is your destiny, and you finally have arrived into your path. And so Mercury in conjunction with Chiron in Aries is like bringing this Chiron, Black Moon, Lilith whole energy down to earth into our everyday reality, and being like, that's this emancipation from your mind. It's up to you. You have the power. We have the power in our consciousness. Everything that the negative creating and the control energies have done is because they're using our power to do it. It's a parasitic disease on our planet that we've allowed in our bodies, in our mind, and it's rough because we're at the end game, man, right? Like there is so much technology on multiple levels trying to have control over our mind. And you know what it comes down to? It's a vibrational war. Because when you're in that higher vibe, which is easier for these souls right now, and that's why you're here, right? But it's like, then you're not food. You go down into that misery, you go down into that darkness. So it's weird because like we need to be armed with truth. We need to stand up for our rights, but we also need to take our power back, which is a vibrational resonance, because when we're in the gloom and doom, when we're in the misery, when we're in the negative timeline, then we're creating that, and that's just like, I feel like just what are you, this is a good mantra for right now. It's like, what are you creating? What are you creating? To give yourself permission to go to that higher vibe. And I have been shown, going back to the fresh food and the way we treat our bodies, that like all of the technological, the nanite energy, the virus, everything that's trying to infect us right now, and the mind control and all of it can only exist in our body with microbes, right? And we can take charge of our physical body. We can take our life force back. And it's the end game, and it's now is the time. You can't just like sit back and escape into Netflix right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, all hands on deck, here we are, because what a powerful culmination of energies. So we're feeling today is, and tomorrow is the exact of the sun in square to Pluto, and then goes right into that square with Jupiter. So the next 3-4 days, sun square Pluto, Jupiter, bringing it home into who we are. The sun's still in Aries. It's about to move into Taurus for a very powerful new moon. And I have a video coming out about that too. But it's like this sun in square to these planets is our personal light being challenged by these authority energies, and exactly what we're talking about. Bringing it home to our personal vibration, our right to shine, our right to be in higher vibrations. But it's kind of it's weird because it's like, you're also feeling like right outside of this weird story that's happening, this manifested play of events, is those higher vibes. And it's like, oh my God, finally, And so this is the sun coming into the squares, like break those chains. And then their mind, the emancipation of our mind, with Mercury going over Chiron, Black Moon, Lilith. So Mercury exact, well, we're starting to feel Mercury come into this conjunction with Chiron. That happens exact on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of the middle of the week here, and then right into that conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. And so all of it completes around, this whole energy completes on around Friday. And this is also the height of the numbers with the deaths and all that. It's like we're in that culmination, which kind of fits. And all of this massive amount of people waking up to truth that's happening so fast. And we also have, that's kind of going along with the North Node at 1 degree Cancer. That means it's exactly an inconjunct with Saturn in Aquarius. And an inconjunct is about this adjustment that needs to be made. Saturn represents time, reality, our like structures of reality, and laws, rules, the way we live by, right? And in Aquarius, it's like, whoa, where's the ground under my feet? Like, how do and it's interesting that the most physical planet or manifest world representing this, physical form planet is the first of these planets to go into Aquarius, right? So we're in this weird time, and it's like, and it's powerful because you can go from like an hour to hour, day to day, from the morning to the night, and feel like a completely different person. And that's where we need to be really present with these energies and receive this shift, right? And every time you go down to the gloom and doom, you go down to the fear, the panic, it's like, oh, no. That's not what. Put your attention on the ideal. Put your attention on that this is a spiritual awakening, and you're here to lead the way. And that's like a really powerful reset for the whole planet right now, you being able to be there. And, so Saturn at 1 degree Aquarius also puts it in an exact semi-sextile to the South Node. And that's like, we can do this. We can work together. So the South Node in Capricorn, almost done, moving into the sign of Sagittarius. So it's like completing this energy of Capricorn. And what's been holding us back, it's the chains of authority contracts of where, and it's like, whoa, what a huge bloom of this, right? Like, isn't the world kind of playing out something perfect of showing us how we so easily give over our control to authority through what? Fear. You know, just create a bunch of fear. And then we'll be like, sure, we'll take the vaccination. Oh, and I need a certificate in order to travel now to show that I have the vaccination. Sure, okay. Oh, and it has a microchip. So now you can know, like you don't already know everything about me because you're listening to me through my cell phone. And, who knows what kind of implant devices we're all dealing with, right? And it's like, yeah, no, humanity, get a freaking backbone and stand up and say no, right? And so, but it's really exciting too that all of these truths are coming out. And so I think that this is a really key week for us all to stand up on some level, right? If this is just energetically, you being like, I'm going high vibe, and doing everything you can in your life to stay there. Like, not that you want to condemn yourself for not being able to stay there, because we all have these emotions. We got to move our emotions. We got to move the energies, right? We don't want to, that's part of how these souls got into this trap, is like hating on themselves, and feeling like low self-worth and all that. So like, that's not helpful. But it's like, whatever you can do to support yourself in this, Uranus in Taurus, radical change in the self-worth, to be able to come back into our relationship with the Great Mother, into receiving from the universe, stepping into the garden, holding that garden in your heart for humanity right now, no matter what the story is. And maybe doing your part to talk to people about truths, as you can. It's definitely changing, where even a week ago, there was a lot of people that couldn't hear you, and now they can. And so that's an interesting thing, because it's like, wow, what's happening around truth being disclosed and people being able to receive it, and maybe that's indicative of these lower mind control vibrations being broken, crack in the matrix, so that people can start thinking for themselves, right? This is this Mercury conjunct Chiron and Black Moon Lilith. It's like, we got to look at the darkest dark in order to move into the light. And Mercury is about the mind of humanity being at a place to finally open up to these truths that are the spiritual awakening, and bring the awakening of the masses, the great awakening. So some really great insights have come forward around how to protect ourselves and to understand a little bit more about this health situation going on my other channel. And so if you're interested in that, please check that out. I just posted a video last night called "We the People Are the Cure." And so it's exciting, because we're just on the verge of all of this information, putting all the pieces together, humanity understanding that they hold the power, and standing up and taking back their reality, taking back our planet, taking back right here. It starts right here in your consciousness, emancipating yourself from these lower vibrational frequencies. And finally, we have this huge energy coming in of support and spiritual support, higher vibration. And all we have to do is allow ourselves to be there. And it's much easier together, right? So I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Look out for that Taurus full moon activation. I'll put the link to the video about understanding. It's a long story, otherwise I'd say it here, but definitely some indications of how we can understand more about what's happening with this current health situation and how to protect ourselves. So thanks so much for joining and following and being the spiritual army that we are here right now. Really beautiful to work with you, and such an honor. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.